Excellent. Good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. In this edition, Speaker of Parliament says the media is not beyond criticism as he defends his directive to the press corps not to abandon coverage of the chamber in favor of other events. We'll hear from the majority leader who says the media deserves no apology over the issue. Commencement of the first phase of the Sino Hydro project stalls due to the outbreak of the novel coronavirus. We'll hear from the Roads and Highway Minister. And also, Ghana's main case management center for the COVID-19 virus says it has not had any supply from the Ghana Water Company for close to a year. We'll get some answers to that. And over 5,000 Ghanaian communities attain open defecation-free status. This paves way for a national plan to curb the status by 2030.
The LEAD campaign ministry is committed, among other things, in reviewing the sanitation policy and institutional and regulatory framework.
And in business, receiver for the defunct financial institutions highlight the sorry state of these firms' finances before that regulatory action.
And later in sports, following a store of Europe to look at Ghanaian players, Black Stars' new coach CK Akono is back and expected to name his team for next month's doubleheader against Sudan. And
we'll be in Parliament also today as the debate surrounding the State of the Nation heats up with allegations against Talo and Anadako by a leading member of the governing New Patriotic Party in Parliament. We have details of that and more here on Newsnight. And from the slum to the internationally recognized neurosurgeon, the story of Dr. Hadi Abdallah, who's now preaching hope to the poor and the underprivileged.
So we go to the homes, we knock like what you call anywhere. We or press the bell, and when they come, we say, oh, do you have a place to eat? We eat and we take some money.
Do join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp. Is on 0244340437. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.
And as always, Newsnight is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience. We start off from Parliament, and the Speaker says the media is not beyond criticism as he defends his directive to the press corps not to abandon coverage of the chamber in favor of other events. Professor Michael Quay warned yesterday that journalists who report from outside the chamber whilst proceedings are ongoing will have their accreditations withdrawn. The threat has been condemned by the Ghana Journalists Association, Media Foundation for West Africa, and other media players. Commenting on the issue today, Professor Michael Quay insisted he's not interested in limiting media freedom, but says children who go wrong should be directed rightly.
That while the preliminary business of this honorable house, however, is ongoing, our distinguished media people should not go outside the chamber to cover other activities, whilst animals, the sovereign body of the people, is actually ongoing. Whether it's from the majority or the minority at any given time. Any given time. And that is very, very important. Honorable members, let's listen carefully and take all these matters in a non-partisan manner, in the interest of the dignity of Parliament as an institution, to which you are being elected as honorable members by the people. I want us to, for example, recap. We are Ghanaians. If any respectable chief in any part of our country, north, south, east, west, central, east, everywhere, has invited media to cover an event at the palace. Can you imagine if there should be some people outside the palace, opposite, doing something else, the media abandoning the distinguished chief and then going to cover that event and rather abusing your mahine or chief or tobe or ni or nana. What are you Ghanaians think? That is what we are talking about. I said our democracy is young. Let us learn and ask for responsibly help develop it. Everyone who has been brought up in Ghana knows such conduct in the chief's house will not be proper. So will it not be proper in the House of Parliament. I personally have supported media freedom since 1967. Yes, when my first article appeared in the Ghanaian Times, 67. And I've consistently stood by that. But no organization, whether it's the lawyers or the doctors or whatever, is perfect. And we should be able to streamline and critique so that our country will develop.
Well, that's a speaker of Parliament there on the back of yesterday's controversial directive that he gave. A bit of a backtracking there. The commenters drawing some criticism even today, his latest pronouncements. NDC MP for Tamale North, Hassan Suhini, who himself was a broadcast journalist before becoming a full-time politician, says the speaker's comments is muddying the issue further, and there's a need for better communications on the issue.
I think he completely was out of order with that directive, and I must commend the media for indicating their intention to disregard, that kind of directive. I don't think it helps democracy in any, shape or form. Every democracy must support, an active and plural media, and I expected the speaker, given the uproar that his directive generated yesterday, to perhaps be more sober and reflective, even if he had to respond to it today. But unfortunately, I think that the manner in which he communicated what was intended to be a clarification has, for me, made things worse. I agree to some extent with the intention of both the speaker and leadership of the House to draw the media or the media's attention to concentrate on the core mandate of being parliamentary reporters, but to suggest that should be done at the expense of what the media house finds newsworthy around the precincts of Parliament is unacceptable. You see, the 1992 Constitution, under Article 162, does not only talk about media freedoms, it also talks about independence of the media. The two are guaranteed.
So you have Suhini, Al-Hassan Suhini, the interacting with my colleague Joseph Opokuga. Of course, Joseph was in that meeting today with the majority and the minority leader earlier. And you also heard the speaker defending what he said yesterday. Joseph, walk us through exactly what happened at the meeting today.
So this meeting was convened by the Public Affairs Department, and they had Haruna Idrisu as well as
Oseiche Mensah present, the idea was to reassure the media that there isn't any plot on the part of Parliament to gag them and to make them understand that no one has intentions of limiting media freedom to any extent as far as the operations of the House are concerned. In fact, both of them made the point that if even any third party has any such intentions, the two of them are people who've really been within the political space for all these years, and they would not allow that to happen, except that even as we heard the speaker, he reiterated the point he made yesterday, indicating that reporting from the outside the chamber when chamber is in session is something that would not be tolerated. But Oseiche Mensah insists that that was an advice, a friendly one from a father figure to the media, who are actually more like his children, and so then they expected that it be taken as such. But in the course of the conversation, one of the journalists asked the majority leader, Oseiche Mensah, to apologize to the media, because you recall he started the entire conversation yesterday and drew the speaker's attention to the issues, resulting in the directive that came eventually. But Oseiche says he owes no one any apology of any form.
That this was really some friendly advice to all of us, that primarily we are here for this. If there is something that you consider abnormal happening, you want to follow up, fair and fine. Except in this regard, we thought that there was a bit of, I wouldn't want to call it errant behavior, but behavior that was really out of sync with the general rules of your engagement, which is why the speaker responded to it the way he did.
So, Joseph, when the two met, the press corps, that's the majority and the minority leader, did they say that they were there to meet you on behalf of the speaker? Were they speaking on behalf of the speaker?
They were speaking as leaders of the House who felt that the issue had generated a lot of discussion within the media space and also elsewhere, and felt they needed to address the issue. So they were there as leaders of the House in their own capacities to reassure the media and to explain things to journalists.
So when he said he owed the media no apology, what really was your reaction? You also part of the media press corps together with your colleagues.
Some were not exactly excited about it, but the point remains that the issues have come up, they've been discussed, the journalists continue to do their work. Today, for example, despite the directive, and I can say this emphatically, that journalists, when sitting was ongoing, right outside the presence of Parliament on the foyer, went ahead and conducted interviews with a number of parliamentarians, including Katie Hammond and the House and Suheni, despite the said directive that had actually come from the Speaker. And the indication from the majority leader and minority leader that this was just friendly advice. And so the media can do whatever they want to do within the presence of Parliament, even when sitting is on. And today the media did exactly that, conducting interviews even as the House was sitting. Okay, so as a result, the Ghana Journalists Association has issued a statement also condemning the threat issued yesterday. You've been going through the statement. What does it say? It's a statement that's actually signed by Apawu, who is the president of the Ghana Journalists Association. He says that the GJA, they are noting with regret the comments that have been attributed to the leadership of Parliament that accreditations may be revoked if people continue to ignore proceedings in the House. The GJA says that they consider the Speaker's threats unfortunate and an affront to media freedom and free speech. The statement says Parliament is a house of the people, and so in the public interest, journalists should be able to have access to their representatives and be able to cover both official proceedings and any other things that they would want to do. The statement goes on to make the point that the Speaker's comments are tantamount to interfering with editorial independence of the media. We further state that the decision as to what activity in Parliament to highlight, cover, or give attention to is entirely within the purview of the various media houses. And the statement says, instead of flaunting its power, the media, is it not better for the leadership of the House to demonstrate the powers and respect its command by directing MPs who are elected and paid by the people and on behalf of the people of Ghana? So that statement was signed by Apawu, who is the president of the Ghana Journalists Association.
Well, I wanted to stay in Parliament a while longer, and Joseph is still here with me. Today they continue the debate on the State of the Nation address, and the former Deputy Energy Minister Katie Hammond is urging the Ministry of Finance to go after international oil firms Tullow and recover more than $75 million in outstanding tax, warning the firm is going down. Now, in a statement on the floor of Parliament as the House debated the State of the Nation address by the President, the Member of Parliament, in his part of the members of the Energy Committee, said he alleged that the company has used resources from Ghana for expansion the world over, which he claims had gone bad. He says the company has shortchanged Ghanaians. Joseph, he made this on the floor. He made these allegations on the floor of Parliament.
He did, and in the course of the conversation, as he sought to detail some of those concerns, including quoting from the Financial Times newspaper in the UK, one of the MPs, specifically Obi Amwa, who is actually the Deputy Local Government Minister, said that they would need some form of evidence to back these allegations. And his response was that a lot of the evidence is captured in the Hansard because previously he had made those statements on the floor. But right outside Parliament, KT gave more details on why he thinks Talo has shortchanged Ghanaians and that the Finance Ministry should really go after them for the said outstanding taxes.
Talo is on its way out. They sacked the chief executive, the operations manager. Talo plays the Jubilee Field as what they call their flagship operations. Now, on the back of that, they sought to do a lot of exploratory work in other parts of the world. Now, all those ones became a complete failure. So I think they ended up financing those projects with what they were getting from Ghana. And they just literally shortchanged us. I mean, we complained about the way they were treating our indigenous employees. I think at the point in time, 70 or so percent of all the wage package was for the so-called expats. I think it was 10 or so percent for the locals, even though they constituted the absolute majority of the working force. And then, of course, we had also hoped that they were going to increase their production because of all that they had told us. In the end, we learned that they were not able to up their game. They weren't producing as we were expecting. Indeed, they had announced to the world that they were going to do about 120,000 barrels of oil a day. They went back and reported to their financiers, to their guys, told them that, well, there had been some hiccups. So they were actually revising down their production capacity. That Ghana had expected that if nothing at all, we were going to benefit from a production capacity of 100,000 barrels per day. That is what the finance minister had factored into his budget projections. They go there and tell them that, well, unfortunately, we can't do it. We're going to do about 70,000 or something. They are going to increase it, but they are dropping.
Well,
I mean, it's a little difficult. Well, this really is the story. The financial oil market seems to think that they have not. You asked a very critical point. They have been asked this very point. Talo has been asked whether they have difficulties telling bad news. Why is it that you haven't told the world what really has been the true position of Talo when you started your operations, and now we are in this complete mess?
So how do you envisage that will impact the Ghanaian economy?
It would impact it extremely negatively. Extremely negatively. Because as it is, the documents make it very clear. They are selling out. I mean, it's now been packaged. Anybody interested, if you have an asking price of a few billions, you can have it. Talo, they are going, you know. And they haven't been fair with Ghana. Talo hasn't been fair. We have complained their practices in the block. I mean, the way the accounting practices. The last time I think you also recall that I also complained on the floor here that they weren't even paying taxes. I think the figure that the family had compromised was about, I think, 75 million. It started with 150 something million. Some agreements were reached. In the end, I think what was outstanding was 70 something. Indeed, funny enough, when I raised this, Prime Minister was there. His deputy actually responded to it, thanked me for bringing this to the attention of everybody, and that they were on top of this particular one. They hope to make sure that they paid.
Now, Mr. Hammond has also been going after another oil-producing firm, Anadako. He says the company doesn't want to pay more than $500 million in taxes after it was sold off, and is asking the Ghana Revenue Authority not to allow them go without paying the taxes.
Will that be the point when Anadako is being called upon by the tax authorities of this country to pay their legitimate taxes They go to this country so they can pass and target and leave the country. Zika, the tax authorities are asking Apawu to pay the small sum of $500 million. Apawu says they won't pay. Apawu paid someone $1 million for something of agreement. Ours is the tax. Our laws require that when you operate here and you make profit, our laws require that when you sell and make profit, you pay taxes on those. Apawu says they won't pay. Zika and Apawu is also reporting officials in its activities in Mozambique. Zika, in the Mozambique case, they have quite happily paid about $800 million to the government of that country. Why is it that they do not want to pay our taxes? We have listed some of the difficulties of the country with saving with this oil company. We have been generous enough. We've provided them with everything they asked for. We've given them the atmosphere, the political ambience, economic stability. We're giving them everything. They've been asking for stability clauses, we're giving them. There must be a reciprocity in this, and that is to pay a fair share of taxes to the country. We're going to run our country. We need our resources. Like the same way that all over the country, government has depended on the resources of this country. And that said, it will take. I bring this to the attention of the House. We all know the benefit of it. Determine the fairness of a company that has exploited our resources for its benefit and is now refusing to pay our share of the dividend.
And that's Katie Hammond speaking on the floor of Parliament today and raising questions about what he believes to be challenges that Tallow is going through currently, alleging the taxes had to be government had to take the taxes he believes that the company owes it. I want to bring in energy analyst Mr. Kojopoku, who joins us on the telephone line on these concerns that Mr. Katie Hammond has been raising today on the floor of Parliament. Mr. Kojopoku, Tallow recently there have been a few statements that appear to paint a picture of some, I call it mildly, discomfort in the operations, and we've just been hearing Katie Hammond's own concerns about taxes that he believed must be paid, and Adako as well. What's understanding of what may be happening with that particular firm?
Well, we've all heard the statement or read the statement they put out there to their shareholders. And Tallow, being a listed company, has an obligation to its shareholders to come clean on what their projection, be it short-term and medium-term forecasts are. Those forecasts were not good. We saw that most of their production, instead of being ramped up, has been reduced. In the coming years, we are going to now do less than the production that they are doing now. Now, they try to spread their wings into other countries like Uganda, Guyana, to try and maybe do more exploration and replicate the successes that they had in Ghana. But unfortunately, the Guyana discovery was heavy oil, which the value is low. And in Uganda, I think they have issues with being granted exploration land. So the company on the whole, in the medium to long term, the forecast is bad. So investors, their shares has really slumped and lost quite a lot of value. And is making the company now look at making redundancies just to keep their cost in check. Now, since it's a profit-making company, they need to basically make sure that their shareholders are happy. So if the forecast doesn't look good, then it means that they have to retrench some of the workers. What some of us have been trying to say is that government, through Petroleum Commission, should keep an eye on that exercise, because it is not worth keeping experts who are earning a lot more money, and Ghanaians who are earning little money will be sacked and expats are kept. It should be in a proportionate manner so that a lot more expats who are getting a lot more money can be let go so that Ghanaian jobs are saved.
And in addition to the concerns about jobs, Mr. Katie Hammond on the floor today makes the point about government going after Tallow to recover what he believes to be some $75 million in outstanding taxes. Is it possible, from what he's saying, that the difficulties that you've painted may be making it impossible for them to meet some of their tax obligations? Is that how the industry works?
Well, Tallow's problem is not an immediate shutdown. If you read the forecast that they made, it is a 3 to 5 year forecast that they did. Look, if you look at the numbers that Tallow is doing, in most companies, it will be seen as a healthy company. But what you should also look at is that when people invest on the stock exchange, they invest for the future of that company, not the now of that company. You could be paying dividends now, but if you tell the investor that in 2-3 years I might not be able to pay you the dividends that you expect, then he will shy away from that company because he thinks that in the long term he cannot make more money with you. The company have assets that are worth money. I don't think $75 million it will be a problem for Tallow. They have indebtedness up to close to $3 billion, okay, which they intend to oblige. If you look at their debt book, it's close to it's definitely close to $3 billion or more. So $75 million is not a problem to Tallow today. What we are concerned about is not the asset, the worth of the assets or their cash flow today. It is the long-term longevity of the company and the assets in Ghana. They are supposed to be able to grow these assets, not in less than 10 years have it declining. The wells that we know, most wells have 8 to 10 years exploration production period. They started 2012, 2011. So we are in that 8 years to 10 years period with most wells. But what we expect is that they should be exploring more and increasing production, not doing the reverse. That is where the concerns are. But I don't think that Tallow doesn't have $75 million as we speak. They do have.
Should he's calling for government to look into also how he believes the company use the resources you're making in Ghana for expansion worldwide, which, as you've made, a lot of them had gone bad. The government should look into that and reclaim the money. Should government bother itself at all in that?
My concern is the way they treated the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah. There was an integrity test done on the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah around 2013 to 2015, and the integrity test came up with a lot of things that needed to be fixed. Some of the pumps and the water pumps and some of the gas pumps that they had needed some work. The turret and that we've heard much about needed some work. I think they did not pay attention to the report, the integrity test that came out. Partly because GMPC and PC, Petroleum Commission, basically took their eye off the ball. GMPC that represent government is part of this problem as well. If you are a partner on a well or on an asset, and the way the company who is the operator, in this case Tallow being the operator of these wells, GMPC representing government should pay more attention to the assets which is being used to produce the oil, which will in turn make money for everybody. They did not spend the money that they made in Ghana to repair the FPSO, which in the long run is what is causing some of the problems in terms of their gas pumps being shut continuously and making the gas from their field reliable. As a result, government relying mostly on the E&I field for the gas. Okay, so yes, I think government should have kept an eye on the money made by Tullow to basically at least maintain some of the assets that they have acquired in Ghana.
And very finally, I mean, on this Anadako issue to that KT Hammond brought up, will you be surprised to learn what he revealed on the floor today, that the company doesn't want to pay more than $500 million in taxes after it was sold off, and is asking the Ghana Revenue Authority to also go after them? This is a long-standing issue, he believes. Would you be surprised to learn this if indeed what he's saying is true?
Well, Anadako, I'm told, has been acquired by Total. Anadako has sold their African assets to Total. Now, in terms of acquisition, you acquire both debt and you acquire both equity. You acquire the good and the bad. So Anadako would have acquired the company, and if the company has tax indebtedness, they would have acquired that as well. I don't think that gets swept under the carpet because somebody acquired the company. I don't know what he meant by Anadako doesn't want to pay. Tax obligations are tax obligations. You cannot absolve yourself from your tax obligations. If you've made the money and you've been assessed to owe that money, you pay it, or the company that takes over from your asset or takes over the company will have to pay. So I don't think, one of the things that I want to put out there is that I think that GRA, the government needs to resource GRA a lot more in terms of oil and gas. I think the oil and gas tax law, which is a bit more technical than the normal corporates that we have in Ghana, I don't know if GRA has the expertise, because bear in mind, these oil companies have tax experts from all over the world that have been doing this tax law in oil and gas for years, and they have ways of basically trying to hide things and trying to bring technical jargons to confuse our local GRA people who might not understand the tax law regards to the oil and gas very well. So I think government needs to resource GRA to be able to understand the tax law regards to the oil and gas, because there are a few things out there that I think that we are not paying attention to.
I'm grateful, Mr. Kojopoku, energy analyst, speaking to us about these, I guess, the controversy that Katie Hammond started today on the floor of Parliament. So listen to News Night on Joy 99.7 FM.
Your success, our passion.
So how the thing end? My God. So we video call like 2 minutes. Then now she say make I take over and meet them. But Charlie, as I hang up where I Rexy, my data finish. Ooh. See, I roam I no get data back. So after they come look for another phone. Hey, my guy, hold up. You see why you for use Vodafone? I be all be the same data. Who tell you? Now with Vodafone, whether you get data or not, you go free use the Uber app with no data charges at all. Hey, this one? Oh yeah. Now Vodafone the Uber partner. So even if you get data where you use the Uber app, then they tell you anything. Where if you no get data safe, Charlie, you free use the Uber app. Simple. No data matter bia. Where they be safe be say, as you use the app, you free get free ride. Where it come with some champion discount. You can now order your Uber ride at no data cost and stand a chance to enjoy free rides and amazing discounts. Switch to Vodafone today.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Get products that are just like the best for less with Right Brand, exclusive to ShopRite. We've tested, tasted, and checked our range to bring you the quality you deserve at prices you can afford. Like 500 grams pack Right Brand cornflakes, only 11 Ghana cedis, 99 pesos, and 2 liters Right Brand ice cream assorted, just 25 Ghana cedis, 99 pesos each. With prices this low, there's never been a better time to put Right Brand to the test. Prices valid till 8 March 2020. ShopRite, lower prices you can trust always.
And it's now time for business, and George Wiafe is joining me with details. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, the receiver for some of the defunct financial institutions highlight the sorry state of these firms' finances before the regulatory action. We're getting you more details on that one. And MTN post more than $1 billion cedis in profit for last year. We'll tell you what it means for you if you are a shareholder of this firm, and also what about these subscribers. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? And it has been 25 years of providing up-to-the-minute market numbers and information to the business community with respect to how those things affect them and how affect their growth as a business. Let's now settle for the details. The receiver for the defunct financial institutions, Eric Nanipa, has been highlighting the bad state of the finances of these firms before that regulatory action by the Bank of Ghana. The central bank last year liquidated 23 savings and loans and financial institutions, as well as 347 microfinance companies. Mr. Nipa tells Joy Business what they have uncovered even after this action shows that the Bank of Ghana was right in the action to revoke their licenses. We'll bring you that sound bite later. Let's look at MTN and telecoms giant. MTN has ended last year with another strong growth in earnings for 2019. Its profit before tax reached 1.1 billion Ghana, representing that significant increase over what was recorded in 2018. But what does it mean for subscribers and shareholders of the network? There's more in this Business Desk report.
The reports show that the telecoms giant witnessed some significant improvements in most areas of its operations for last year. Apart from profits before tax going up significantly, revenue also shot up from 4.2 billion cedis to 5.2 billion cedis for 2019, while service revenue also went up by a similar margin. Subscribers on the network went up by a little over 12% to hit 22.6 million. Its data subscribers reached 20.1 million, up by 28% from what was posted in 2018. MTN attributes this growth to the use of more smartphones on the network. Growth in its voice service, which went up by 19.4%, the operator attributed to some value addition promotion carried out during the year. Based on what can be described as a sterling performance, MTN was going to pay out about 70% of its over 1 billion cedis as dividend to shareholders. This should translate to an interim dividend of 2 pesos and a final dividend of 4 pesos, totaling 6 pesos. This first dividend payment should happen May 25th, 2020. This strong earnings should come across as good news for shareholders and even the subscribers, as the firm plans to invest a significant amount of its earnings into some capital expenditure to aid service improvement. MTN also announced that it had reviewed its 2G license for 15 years.
And that was a Business Desk report. Let's return to our earlier story where the receiver for some of the defunct financial institutions has been highlighting the bad state of the finances of some of these companies that had their licenses revoked by the Bank of Ghana.
The whole asset realization arena has been a very challenging one for us.
Why?
Because it is largely an assetless insolvency process I'm dealing with. A lot of the assets have been diverted. The quality of the assets that remain are highly suspicious but the fact of the matter, George, and the overriding point is that a lot of the assets that were on the books are non-existent.
Why?
Well,
why are they non-existent? So if you come to Georgia Savings and Loans, I talked about the fact that I have a branch in every regional capital. I have 20 pickup vehicles and all the rest, and these were captured in the handing over notes. Why is it when you went on ground you can't find?
Well, I think it's interesting when you look at the particular type of asset.
Okay.
If you take, for example, placements, some of them reflected in their books that they had investments in other companies and other institutions. But then, of course, they are reflected in the books. But when you go in and you examine and you follow up, you would realize that those investments are either non-existent or they've been encumbered to other third parties. And therefore, actually, if you have to ascertain their true value, it's not there. Other example I can give relates to the loan. All right. Lots of them indicated that the quality of the loans were high, but indeed when we went in there, a lot of them were non-existent. You couldn't even relate to them. Documentation supporting were so porous you couldn't pursue anything. Okay, so very clearly there was a problem over there, and very clearly from a prudent point you say that there isn't anything.
And Eric Nananipa is the receiver for the liquidation of some of the financial institutions. And join us on the business edition of PM Express on Multi TV today at 9 p.m. as we track the payment process and how things have gone and how things are going to be for those people out there getting more details on that one. Let's move to other stories that will be of interest to those who do business at the port, because managers of the Tema Port Meridian Port Services says the area is well positioned to play a vital role in the African Free Trade Agreement. The African Trade Pact is expected to fully take off in July this year, allowing the various African countries to move goods across duty-free, quota-free. According to Meridian Port Services, the ongoing expansion works will ensure that they'll be able to facilitate that regional expansion. Frank Ebo Brown is a legal and permit manager at Meridian Port Services, and he spoke to Joy Business when the members of the UK-Ghana Chamber Commerce toured the facility.
African Continental Free Trade Area is about trading within Africa and offering the best opportunities to your customers. We have positioned ourselves in such a way that we have the deepest draft. We have the biggest equipment. We can be a logistics platform for intra-African trade. That is what we are looking at. So we are really, really desirous of having people connecting on our platform. And this is the kind of result that will come from stakeholder engagements like this. We urge people to take advantage of the opportunities presented by this magnificent facility.
Meanwhile, members of the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce say such visits will afford members the opportunity to learn how the agencies work and operate at the port. Rubigolo is a country representative of Mount Laboratories in UK.
Today's event has been very useful in the sense that we supply laboratory equipment and consumables. So getting to know how MPS Terminal 3 operates has been very useful for us. Of course, I give the credit to UK Ghana Chamber for organizing this. I think it's been very brilliant, and we look forward to many more of such visits because it really helps our business to have this kind of understanding of how agencies kind of operate.
And that's Ruby Golo. She is the country representatives of Mount Laboratories speaking there. And let's turn our attention to the stock market. If you're a shareholder of Carbank, each value held or each share was down by 3 pesos to close at 90 pesos. GCB also lost a peso to close at 4 Ghana cedis, 84 pesos. Famog was also down by 2 pesos to close at 4 Ghana cedis, 7 pesos. And that's all for MTN. It stayed flat despite that strong earnings that they posted for last year. Some good impact for shareholders and even subscribers of the network.
What kind of phone is this? Hey, Joe, into the coloring to you running you. Chance not for you. Uber upgrade. Shasuna dial *120*1#. Never can MTN resume level promo. If free and never pim. Every busumi na ye. Would your Kosuna use with MTN number no? Do more. Now wait me a winnie. One of the 20,000 iPro Amber 5S phones. Cafe door. Bob come up. Test it. Now for Chama Monica. Adbena. Kaise ube chenu rintono. So Osaka iPro Amber 5S phone. MTN resume level promo. New year, new phone, new ringtone. We are good together. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Mr. Barr has big dreams for his business, Barr & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
To be successful, you need to have an eye to spot opportunities and a plan to harness them. Amazing products like Waka Now Pay Small Small. Yes, Pay Small Small allows you to lock down great travel deals with a down payment of only 25%, leaving you with cash to meet other pressing needs. You have the liberty to pay the balance in up to 3 convenient installments. Be smart. Use Pay Small Small. Visit wakanow.com.gh to get started.
Waka Now. Let's go.
Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. We move on to some other issues now. And government is tonight announcing that the first phase of the Sino Hydro Master Project, which seeks to address major road infrastructural challenges in the country, has been stalled due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. The first phase of the project, which is to cost $646.6 million, will ensure a major facelift of roads in parts of all the 16 regions of Ghana. Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, explains further.
They should have taken place during this first quarter. They were earmarked for shortcutting under Sino Hydro to complete the 10 major projects that were earmarked for the first phase and Sino Hydro. We have cut off for the first four. We were left with six for short to be cut during the first quarter. But for the almighty coronavirus. But it's understandable. The officials who should have come from China to join us to perform these exercises because Sino Hydro, because of the ban and the restriction of movement, naturally it has affected.
So interesting. Coronavirus is now, affecting the year of roads. Well, Mr. Makwata was quick to add that the Sino Hydro project deal has already been signed and sealed, and still expect some movement on it.
Official communication on it. Everything is on course. The Sino Hydro project updating is on course. That has not affected the facility. Everything is on course. And a way is being found, and the government has full assurance from the government and Sino Hydro that the project will go on. So pretty soon, arrangements will be made to cut short for 6 other projects under the first phase of 10 projects. Then the second phase will take off.
Well, Evans, you know that the Tema General Hospital has been named as one of the holding centers should we record the COVID-19, any case in the country. Guess what? That hospital has been without water supply from the Ghana Water Company for close to a year. The hospital explains that it's as a result they are having to spend more than 3,000 Ghana cedis every week to buy water into their reservoirs. PSC and Anaya Safo was there. Here's his report.
Yeah, it's not flowing.
Chairman Tim Benson is administrative manager at the Tema General Hospital.
Two challenges for the past 1 year.
TGH was designated a coronavirus case management center last month. It might seem prepared for the global epidemic, yet an administrator there who prefers to remain anonymous opens up about its local water problems.
The Ghana Water Company lines doesn't flow at all, and so the hospital engaged the private tankers, and we spend not less than 3,000 cedis at least every week.
The administrator, however, insists this should not affect the hospital's preparedness to contain coronavirus cases brought there.
We have the Veronica bucket where we store water so that in case there is any need for you to wash your hands, that can be a backup plan.
Staff and families of patients who spoke with Joy News, however, disagree with the hospital management.
Commercial washrooms here, so when water is not flowing, this awful smell. Yes.
It is embarrassing for a hospital of this repute to continuously be in this situation, she says. There is no water available most times. You can only imagine the blood and state of the mothers who deliver here.
So you heard the PSC and Naya Safo's report, and there's some updates since the story was aired. He's in the studio with us, but let's go on the phone line and speak to the Tema Regional Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Mr. Kenneth Godwin-Enin. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight, sir. So according to the report, it looks like you've been, the Tema General Hospital has been without water for almost a year. What explains the situation?
Yeah, in the first way, let me say that the story is not entirely true. I was posted here last year around June, July, and soon after I've arrived, a delegation from Tema General Hospital came to me and complained that there was water shortage at the hospital. So quickly, I and my team, we moved there. A few investigations, we saw that some valves within the confines of the hospital has been locked, thereby preventing water flow to the various walls and to the various parts of the hospital. So after that, we had a meeting with the hospital authorities and said that we really need to have some personnel from their outfit so that Ghana Water Company can really train them to man their water installations. Yeah, and so some personnel were detailed and they were given to us, but according to the trainers, it appears the staff that were given to us were not interested in the training. So that was one of the setbacks of the hospital. Yeah, besides, the hospital already has also been waiting through several years ago that their internal network were laid as far back as in the 1950s, and therefore have become choked and have become rusty. So there were some areas where water was not also getting to. So I think that the hospital needs to be assisted to change or replace the internal pipes of the hospital. Then besides, we also realized that they didn't have ground reservoir where water can easily gravitate even at the lowest pressure. They didn't also have that one. So these are some recommendations that have been made to the authorities. So I believe that the hospital needs to be assisted to have well-trained plumbers and attendants to attend to their water situation. They should also have ground reservoir. And then also they should be assisted to also have some of their choked and rusty lines replaced.
So Ms. Enin, you just started by saying that the story is not true, but you're also admitting that the Tema General Hospital has been without water for close to a year. Is that
No. I was here in June, July, and around October they came and they said that
but
they were
you
not.
Came to meet the problem when you came to the office in June,
yes,
July. Is that not the case?
So
it's not entirely accurate for you to say that the story is not true. Has the hospital been with water since you took office?
Let me explain. When we came and examined, it wasn't as a result of water shortage. It was some internal valves that have been mistakenly locked by their personnel within the confines of the hospital. That caused the shortage of water as at the time I came. So we came and opened and they had water since then.
So has that issue with the valves been rectified as we speak?
Yeah, that is an internal issue that the Tema General Hospital needs to tackle themselves. They need for Ghana Water Company, our responsibility ends at the property boundary where we just send the water to, and then within the internal compound is the responsibility of the Tema General Hospital.
We're grateful for your time. That's Mr. Kenneth Godwin-Enin. He's the Tema Regional Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited there. But let's do sports now. Benedict Owusu has the latest.
Yes, Emefa. Now, Black Stars coach Siki Akono is back in the country after a story of to scout Ghanaian players. Now, Coach Akono met Black Stars captain Andrew Ayew and his brother Jordan Ayew in the UK, as well as Leicester City defender Daniel Amate, who is recovering from a long-term injury. Among other players he met in the UK are Jeffrey Schlopp, yes, and other Tariq Mensah as well. Tariq Lamptey, sorry. Now, he also visited players based in Germany, Spain, Belgium, and other European countries. Well, aside looking out for players, he also met technical team members of some top European club sides, including Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers and former Manchester City skipper Vincent Kompany, who is now with Anderlecht in the Belgium League. Now, he will meet the Black Stars Management Committee tomorrow and is expected to name a squad for the upcoming 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sudan next month. Now, ahead of their matchday 12 game against Bicham United tomorrow, a management consultant has told Asante Kotoko executive chairman Dr. Kwame Chey that his approach to getting the team back on top form is wrong. Now, Dr. Chey was captured on tape hitting hard at the playing body, technical, and the management team for their recent poor run. Dr. Jibrin Owusu Nyamite tells Joy Sports Dr. Chey's approach is wrong.
that is a wrong approach, because who employed those people? You did. You believed in them, that's why you employ them. If they're not giving you results, I think it's time to go back and look at each person's value to the company. And we call something in management, if they are not performing, you have to manage them out and manage people in. Okay, managing out is number one, you have not been performing. Let's talk about your improvement. So we call something performance improvement plan. So we put you on a performance improvement plan. It's called PIP. We monitor your performance. Every week you're going to be meeting with the person who is monitoring your performance. Every week we are going to evaluate what is in the performance plan. After 3 months or whatever specified duration, we look at it and say, okay, here we are. We gave you this target. You have not been meeting this target. So now, what actions do you want us to take? What can you do to improve?
All right, so we've got Friday night football here on the local scene. Tomorrow at the Accra Sports Stadium is Kumasi Asante Kotoko up against Bichi United for the lovers of the Europa League. Some games currently ongoing. Wolverhampton Wanderers are drawing 1-1 with Espanyol. Later, Manchester United will play against Club Brugge. We'll see if Odion Igalo will be given his first start. And Sevilla Cluj to come later. Other interesting games to look forward to. Ajax Getafe, Arsenal, Olympiacos. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, more than 5,000 communities, mostly regions in the northern part of the country, have been declared open defecation free. No tents there. Now, that's according to the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, which together with development partners embarked on a targeted campaign to stop the practice. The ministry has been explaining a plan with which it hopes to achieve Ghana's target of an open defecation-free status nationwide by, 2030.
According to UNICEF's latest reports, 1 out of 5 Ghanaians defecate openly. A problem reported in 2016 would take 500 years to fix. But it seems change is fast occurring, at least in the regions up north. However, recognizing that Ghana is largely off track in meeting its sanitation goals with only 21% of the population using improved sanitation facilities, Deputy Water and Sanitation Minister Yawama explains plans to reach the nationwide goal.
We as the lead campaign ministry is committed, among other things, in reviewing the sanitation policy, institutional and regulatory framework, developing a roadmap of achieving ODF, establishing an ODF Ghana campaign as a national flagship program involving all ministries, departments and agencies, scaling up the basic sanitation information system nationwide, provide regular monitoring data across the country.
These efforts have been largely compensated with support from development partners. For accelerated progress, development partner UNICEF is happy about the progress so far. Here is Chief of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, Ramesh Bushal.
It is an offense to our national pride, and we should not do that. And if somebody is found doing that, it's punishable offense. So legislation can also immensely help. But at the same time, bringing media like yourself together and then creating a kind of national whim that open defecation is no longer tolerated in Ghana.
Nadoli Kalio is one of the success stories. DCE for the area, Catherine Teyuri Lankunu, talks of plans to sustain the status.
With the involvement of the assembly members who are permanent residents of the communities and the chiefs, because we continuously tell them, we continuously whip up their interest, we continuously compare the communities that are doing well with those that are lagging behind. So I think that the edge is there to do it and to sustain it.
The other areas which have attained open defecation-free status include Tatale and Dambai. As they celebrate these successes, the country and development partners are still mindful that an estimated 22% of the population still openly defecate. Essie Nyamicha Thompson for Joy News.
And that's it for News Night tonight. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Emefa Apawu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Thanks for your company.